Wait, I am. Hesitation, not a decision and not an answer. I am the emptiness that stands between the question and the choice. I am the voice inside that wavers between fear and logic. And I am the one who makes your mind echo the same questions over and over. What is the right thing? If I make the wrong choice, what will happen? Maybe there is a third option that is more suitable. In psychology, hesitation is not just an inner shyness. It is a state called decisional paralysis. It appears when you are surrounded by a sea of possibilities, and every choice feels heavy enough to paralyze you for a long time. The very first thing we have to realize is that the system of life is finely tuned. If any part of it is disturbed, the whole system could collapse with ease. If you are a wise human, observant, and focused on every detail, even the smallest ones, you will discover that nothing in life's system, whether animal, plant, human, or anything else, can be dismissed or removed without consequences. Otherwise, Earth itself would come to an end. Take ants, for example. Someone with a superficial view might say, "What's the point of ants? Why do they even exist?" But if ants disappeared, here is what would happen. The food available for animals that depend on ants would shrink, causing their numbers to decrease and eventually go extinct. The distribution of plants would change dramatically. Biodiversity would be lost. Soil would suffer, becoming poorer without the aeration provided by ants. Agricultural pests would spread uncontrollably because there would be no natural balance to limit them. Pollination of some plants would decline. This alone is enough to make you believe there is a precise balance that governs the ecological and biological systems of life. And this same balance exists in every system, including the human body itself, especially in the nervous system, which controls human behavior, emotions, and moods. It is the nervous system that interprets what happens in front of you, and it is the one that controls your body's movements to protect you. And here I am today. I am one of the behaviors shaped by the nervous system. I am hesitation. I have come to introduce myself, to speak to you about who I am, and to give you some useful knowledge. Human beings were created with a nervous system that makes them capable of feeling joy, sadness, and pain. All of these natural instincts were created for one main reason: to protect you. They exist to push you toward the safest possible choice, the one that serves your best interest and avoids harm. And my role is this: when a human faces an important decision or a difficult situation where more than one choice exists, I step in to make you pause and look for what is best, for what brings you the most benefit and the least loss. Because by nature, humans always desire what is better, and that in itself is not a bad thing, as long as I do not prevent you from deciding, acting, and creating something meaningful. Now let us take a closer look at why humans hesitate in their decisions. Hesitation comes in four main types. 1. Social hesitation. This type is when you constantly ask yourself, should I do what pleases me, or what pleases others? This is, without a doubt, one of the most powerful influences on a person's psychology in almost every action they take. For example, from the very moment someone simply wants to go out, they choose their clothes. And that's when I appear whispering questions like, "Are you sure you want to go out wearing this? Isn't this the same pair of pants that someone mocked last time? Isn't this the same watch they said looked bad? Isn't this the same hairstyle they told you was outdated, from the 90s? All of these branches come together under one root, the fear of losing acceptance. And all of these questions are the essence of social hesitation. They make you fear the opinion of others, to the point where you shape your decisions entirely around them. But this is not in your favor, because it can grow into social anxiety, and it can create an indirect kind of isolation. You may end up living without truly living. You may end up living for others, and not for yourself. 2. Emotional hesitation. This kind appears in two situations. The first case is when you are torn between conflicting emotions, like whether to stay in a relationship or to leave. You feel attachment, fear of loss, expectation of emotional pain, and the high cost of change. You love someone, but the relationship exhausts you. Here you stand, confused. Should I continue or should I end it? This leads to repeated thinking of endless scenarios, delaying crucial conversations, restless sleep, and anxiety felt deep in the stomach. The result? Relationships that slowly weaken, resentment that silently builds, and missed opportunities for genuine emotional connections. The second case is when trust itself is wounded. If someone has been deeply betrayed before, when they enter a new relationship, hesitation strikes them powerfully. They want to trust, yet they cannot forget what happened. They need a long time to adapt, to heal, to move forward. But one thing is certain, they will never give trust easily again. This has a positive side. Not everyone is worthy of your trust. Even close friends are not always as trustworthy as they seem. The safest approach is this: when you give your trust, you must also know what this person will look like in a moment of conflict. Will they betray you? Will they speak ill of you? Will they throw old mistakes back in your face? You must always calculate the possibilities in advance to protect yourself from being broken again. 3. Existential hesitation. This type appears when a person fears stepping outside the pattern imposed by society. They stop themselves from trying, from experimenting, because they are afraid of criticism, of failure, of being rejected. It can also appear in another form, when caution takes control. You find yourself asking, what if I start this project and it fails? What if I lose my money, my effort, and my time? What if people mock me for trying? Caution itself is not a bad thing. It can push you to prepare carefully, to pay attention to every detail, to do your best. But when caution transforms into hesitation, it paralyzes you. You stop moving. Days pass, then months, then years. And you are still waiting for the perfect moment to begin. But the truth is, there is no perfect moment. And the beauty of the journey is that the mistakes you make along the way teach you lessons no perfect start could ever give you. 4. Cognitive hesitation. This type appears when the mind itself becomes overloaded with possibilities, and instead of making a choice, it freezes. It has several faces: fear of regret, anticipated regret. What if I choose this and regret it later? Loss aversion. The human brain fears losing more than it desires winning. So you hold on to the status quo, even if it is worse. Perfectionism. You keep searching for the flawless choice. But such a choice does not exist. Examples: someone who spends an hour scrolling through Netflix and ends up watching nothing. An entrepreneur who spends months studying the market, but by the time they are ready, the competitors have already taken the opportunity. The result is always the same: decision fatigue, mental exhaustion. And sometimes you let others choose for you, or the choice simply disappears on its own. Scientific studies on hesitation. Harvard Business Review -2015. A study on executives in major companies showed that hesitation led to lost opportunities, weakened leadership, and reduced trust from employees. The lesson: sometimes a wrong decision is better than no decision at all. University of Chicago, 2018. This research showed that hesitation grows stronger with perfectionism. When a person keeps refusing any choice that is less than perfect, they end up trapped in an endless cycle of overthinking. University of Pennsylvania, 2021. In a study of over 2,000 people, researchers found that those who gave themselves strict time limits to decide hesitated less and felt more satisfied with their decisions afterwards. It is like telling hesitation, you have 10 minutes. And then you are finished. Final words, and in the end, my advice is simple: keep your emotional balance. Because any imbalance, no matter how small, can destroy you completely. See you soon in another play.